What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I've got a big video here today for you guys. We're going to be taking a look at the gem rates through 2025, well, as current date 2025. We're mainly going to be focusing on Scarlet and Violet era, but I'm going to compare it to some of the sets in Sword and Shield. And I think you'll have a newfound respect for some of the just the chance of you getting a 10. I think this is great information to have. You'll definitely go into grading more informed if you watch this video, so please stay tuned. I'll try and make it as informative as possible. But before we get into the video, if you want to give me a cheeky follow on the old Insta, there's my handle there. So let's get straight in. This is as of October, somewhere at the start of the month. I started gathering this data. It might be like a little tiny bit out in some of the numbers, but as of the start of October, this is roughly what we were looking at. So this is, like I said, Scarlet and Violet mainly. I've added Celebrations and Crown Zenith just so you get some appreciation for how poor Scarlet and Violet is for gem rates. So let's start with Celebrations, 65%, guys. If you didn't know, I love Celebrations. I love grading Celebrations. It is so rewarding because you almost always get a 10, right? But essentially what that is saying, 65% of the cards that have been graded in Celebrations are Gem Mint 10, okay? And I'm only incorporating the hits. So just so you know, all the commons are taken out. Most of the trainers are taken out. Not the full art trainers, but all the other energies, all that's taken out. So it's just hits. Celebrations is 65%. Okay, compared to Crown Zenith, which is renowned for being a great set to grade, 48%. That's just how good Celebrations is, okay? At just grading, mostly you're going to get a 10. I love it. If you're not grading Celebrations, please start. But what's interesting is also the total number of cards graded. You'll see that 151 is superior in terms of numbers graded, in the lead. Not too bad from Crown Zenith there. 500, 500,000 cards graded in English. Obviously, this is all English, I should say. But Celebrations is half of Crown Zenith. So I still, to this day, truly believe a lot of the opportunity is in Celebrations. There is still a lot of wiggle room, still a lot of growth left. Obviously, you've got half the cards graded compared to Crown Zenith, which is wild. That's how good Crown Zenith is as a set, guys. It is ridiculous. But as you can see, there are some poor performers, right? Obsidian Flames. Ooh, stay away. Stay away from Obsidian Flames unless you are convinced it is a 10. Stay away. 28% gem rate, guys. It is abysmal. It is abysmal. You'll see some of the worst gem rates in Obsidian Flames. That set quality is ridiculously bad. So if you are picking up 10s in PSA in terms of like buying 10s, Obsidian Flames probably isn't a bad shout because a lot of the cards are not getting 10s, okay? So they're definitely more investable in terms of Obsidian Flames. Now let's go to 151. I will talk about a big difference of Pokemon sets like 151. People aren't really caring about the grade, so they will just send the card, which is not like they're getting 34% gem rate, guys, but sometimes we might have to look a little deeper because 600,000 cards have been graded, right? Not, people are just going to be sending these cards off willy-nilly. If you pull a Charizard, most of those Charizards are just going to get graded straight away, right? They don't care what the condition is. If they get a 9, it's happy days. So 34% gem rate isn't necessarily reflective of the actual print quality of the set. I'd say for popular sets like 151 and even Crown Zenith, I'd say you'd have if you are conscious when you pick up singles and you are looking for 10s, you won't have a 34% win rate, right? It'll be a lot higher because the actual print quality of the 10s of the single cards they print is you do have a higher chance than that, right? Especially for Crown Zenith, and it will be applicable for some other sets like Prismatic, because Prismatic you'll just send off. And it's very interesting to see only 184,000 compared to the Celebrations, the Crown Zenith, the 151. and Surgeon, it's below Surgeon, which is extremely interesting. So there is some big stuff we need to talk about going through this. Black Bolt and White Flare are not looking too good, although we haven't got, the big numbers coming up yet. We've only got 16,000, 15,000 cards being graded. That gem rate's not looking too great. What I was surprised to see was this 50% from Destined Rivals just for hits. That is incredible, considering the print quality seemed pretty bad at the start. Journey Together is another poor one. And it'll be interesting to see where that goes in the future. But this video, guys, is just going to be on the first half of the set. So we'll go up to Twilight. If you guys want to see a second video with the second half, just please let me know down in the comments below. I will then obviously draft, because it's a lot of data, right? And it's a lot of stuff to go through. So let's get into it. Okay, Celebrations. These are the 3 cards that have the highest gem rate in Celebrations. Mega Rayquaza with 76%. This is going to change my mind on how I view Celebrations. I normally pick up Blastoise, Venusaur, Birthday Pikachu, those sorts of cards. I will now be looking for Mega Rayquazas and the Shiny Magikarp, because the gem rate is so high, right? You are almost always guaranteed to get a 10. That is what I want when I go to grading. I want no risk. I want as minimal risk as possible, I should say, because there's never no risk. But this is what I'm after, right? This is why I love Celebrations. And the 10s, guys, they're very liquid. They still sell, and it is just a collectible, investable set. So the Magikarp is where you want to be at looking for shows. Definitely a very liquid card, same as the Quasar. Zekrom, less liquid, but still, if they get a 10, they do sell. Okay, moving on to Crown Zenith. A ridiculous number here, guys. 80% of the Deoxys VMAXs come back a 10. And this card has been climbing. This card has been climbing, most probably because people have realized you can get a 10 pretty easy. Like, the single price has been climbing. So imagine they've been selling pretty fast. It is a gorgeous card. The planet in the background. What a card. But it just goes to show you that, it's roughly the same for some good cards. Some of the gold god cards are decent. I think they're a bit lower than this. Probably coming in at 40-50% because they're graded a lot more. But it just shows you guys, some of these are the biggest. I think these 3 definitely are the most. Darkrai, there's some in between Darkrai, but Darkrai was the next sort of big one I thought I could put up here. All gorgeous cards, guys. The artwork is stunning in Crown Zenith, absolutely stunning. But it's not bad, 67%, 64%, 62% of the time you are going to be hitting that 10. And when I start comparing it to some of the Scarlet and Violet sets, guys, you'll be very shocked indeed. Now, this is where we go on to Scarlet and Violet base. Okay, guys, this is where it gets very sad. Scarlet and Violet base is not known for having very good gem rates. Okay, these 4 cards are the highest gem rates in the set. So that means 57% of the time your Great Tusk will get a 10 if you obviously look for a good card, right? And that's a full art. That is not great. That is not great. Now, I know you guys wouldn't want to see this, right? I just, it's not very helpful. No one's really going to grade these full arts unless you really like them. So I just wanted to show you some of the illustration rares and SIRs in the set. Compared to, the 80% for the Deoxys and Crown Zenith, Gardevoir is sitting at 42% for the SIR, which actually doesn't look too bad when you compare it to the Riolu, which is sitting at 16%, guys. For some reason, that card is very difficult to grade. Very difficult indeed. And same as the Drowsy, which is even worse. That's why it's been shooting through the roof as the 10. It's obviously come down a bit now. It's retracing, but the 12%, these gem rates, guys, are super, super low, right? And I think it's important for Pokemon if they want to, I'm not saying they want to keep PSA 10 populations down, but they've obviously had to, over the years, they've had to ramp up this printing, and the quality's dropped because they just want to get cards out, right? That's essentially what's been happening over the last 2-3 years. And even though Scarlet Violet base was like in a lull period, we were coming off quite a big big hype cycle before this. So they were probably printing this pretty quickly, even though we were then going through the lull at the start of S and V. So yeah, this is what we're going to start seeing. Okay, this is where we're going to start seeing. Now they picked up in Paldea. Now, when I say these gem rates are extremely good for Scarlet and Violet, they're really good, guys. Okay, Paldea is renowned for being a bad set to grade in terms of SIRs and you know, obviously Magikarp, other things, but these SIRs, guys, are really good. I think it's more the IRs that are difficult to grade because these SIRs, guys, they are hitting right. I will now. I always look for the Chiyu EX, guys. This is one of my favorite cards. One of my favorite cards of the whole Scarlet and Violet block. I think it is just stunning. Drop dead stunning, right? But some of these cards most likely will still have some margin. And it is interesting to see that, you know, over half the time, it's in your favor, right? And that's good to know. That's really good to know. It means that if you go out looking for these cards, you're slightly more than likely to be looking at a 10 rather than a 9. Okay, that is good news. So it's good to see, you know, you got to keep note of these cards, guys. You got to be looking out for these cards because it is going to maximize your chance of hitting 10s, which then in turn maximizes your margin. Okay, that is why we look for 10s. And you know, you just have to know the numbers at the end of the day. Now, very, very depressing. Obsidian Flames. These two cards are the highest gem rates. The Vesper Queen EX Shiny. Okay, 46%. 46% is the highest. That is the highest. That's top. So just stay away. Stay far away from Obsidian Flames if you grade, because it is not where you want to be. You will most likely get 9s, 8s, okay? I will, at the end of the video, I'll be looking at some of the bad ones. There is a lot of Obsidian Flames in the bad ones, okay, guys? It gets pretty abysmal in Obsidian Flames. You will cry, okay? Moving on to 151. Obviously, I can't show you, like, I do want to show you all the bad stuff as well, but this video was mainly focusing on the good cards. The full arts seem to be the ones that are have the highest gem rates. This is why I don't like it, because it's not very reflective of the actual gem rates. These are higher because people aren't grading these cards. So people that are the graders are looking for 10s and they're submitting 10s and they're getting 10s. Okay. It's still pretty low for a set, 44%. So it does. This is what I'd say the actual gem rates should be like for most of the cards. However, most people 151 hype. They're just submitting everything. It could be have a scratch. It doesn't matter. They're submitting it. So that's why the gem rates are lower for 151. Okay. Now going on to Paradox. Paradox seems to be another weird set that some of the grading play isn't really there, and it just goes to show you that the illustration rares, they're really difficult to grade. So this is the top 3 cards in terms of gem rates in Paradox Rift. Again, not very reflective and sort of difficult to do anything with. This is why you can sometimes hone in on sets. Paradox, there are some that are in the 40s, 40% mark. So there is still a decent chance that you hit 10s. But again, not the best set for 10s. Paldean Fates, very surprising for Paldean Fates, guys. Now, this set is so deep, so deep. They actually have extremely good gem rates, only because I included all the hits, which are all the baby shinies. Not everyone grades the baby shinies, so some of the baby shinies have gem rates of 70%, 80%. You know, I don't think they got hit 80 actually, maybe 70, 60%. In that range, they do really well, the baby shinies, okay? They class as a hit. That's why I haven't put them in here, because I know you guys sort of wouldn't want to see that. This is what they actually are if you're looking at the illustration and the SIRs. It's not bad. It's not horrible set to grade. Gardevoir's sitting at 49%. You know, I would take that chance if I was a grader, especially with the margin on these cards. The Charizard sitting at 46%. That's very decent for a Charizard. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of these cards graded, so there is obviously risk in the singles market. But you know the gem rates are there, guys. For Paldean Fates, the gem rates are there. There's obviously a lot more higher gem rates for the baby shinies, but I didn't want to include that. If you want to go away, do your own research. There is a lot of good grades in there. Now, Temporal Forces hitting some 50s. Okay, I have graded the Shiftry because I think it's a gorgeous card. It is very gradable, guys. Most of the Shiftries I've seen are 10s. Most of them, if they haven't got whitening, they're most likely a 10. The centering's decent, the quality control's decent. So that I like Temporal Forces. I really like Temporal Forces. I think I will be focusing a lot of my upcoming grading stuff around Temporal Forces. Mainly because it will be going out of rotation soon. Not yet, but after the next wave of rotation, it is next on the block. So these are the sort of cards that you would like to be picking up, you know, soon, right? And there is Shiftries, you know, in the 10 because the gem rates are high. It's it's quite competitive, I'd say. It's going for around £70. There's a lot listed on eBay. But you know it's a 10-15 pound card. You know you keep your grading at 17-18 pounds, and there's still margin there. There is still margin there. So these are the sort of ones I'd be looking at if you want to still make some money. On to the final one of the set, guys. Twilight Masquerade. It still is decent. It still is decent. There's a lot of cards that sit around the 40, 45, 50 mark. But these two are the ones that have been hitting above 50, going 60, almost 60%, which is good to see. So I will now be looking for these. I'm not sure if there's margin on these cards. So after you get these gem rates, guys, you have to then go away and look at what they're selling for, what the throughput is. You know, if they're liquid enough, then you waddle it down to then what you've got left. And for me, Celebrations wins every single time, guys. Celebrations, Crown Zenith win every time. Okay, it's liquid, it's margin, it's cheap, and the gem rates are high. It is just win, 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 win. That is greater paradise. The IRs in most of Scarlet and Violet are very difficult. Okay, there is risk there, especially Surgeon Sparks going forward, and you know other sets. It is very difficult to grade. Black Bolt, White Flare, especially. So we'll see if you guys want me to make another video. I can take a look at those sets going deeper into the numbers, but let me show you some of the bad ones, guys. Some of the bad ones. It gets pretty bad. It gets pretty rough out here. Okay, Charmander, Charmeleon, 151. 27% gem rate. Not horrible, but it's bad. Okay, it is bad. 27%. People do not seem to care what card they have, what the quality is. They just want to submit it. That is why we're getting 27% gem rate for 151. Interestingly, the Charizard is higher than this. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to go away and check, but it's definitely higher. 27% is pretty bad. Okay, that is less than a third of the time you're going to be hitting a 10 on these cards. So if you're a grader, stay away from these cards, guys. Larvitar, 21%. I'm pretty sure this might be from Obsidian. Is it from Obsidian? Yes, it is. 21% is just terrible. Terrible. And that is not because loads of people are grading it. That is because the quality is so bad. So if you think this is bad, let's continue. Let's stay on Obsidian Flames, shall we? 20% for the Pidgeotto. Yeah, do not get, you know, trapped or enticed by these IRs, guys, because they do not grade well in the slightest. Sizzle, look at stunning card, absolutely stunning card. 16% gem rate. Guys, the odds are not in your favor. Basically 85% of the time you're hitting a 9 or an 8. It is ridiculously hard to grade these cards. Please just do not even try unless you're so confident that it's a 10, because it will most likely come back a 9 or an 8. It might be something to do with the surface. It might be something to do with the print quality. It might be something to do with the actual card itself. But for whatever reason, this set is difficult to grade. And continuing the Magikarp at 18%. I had to throw it in there. It just makes Obsidian look worse than Paldea, which is crazy. The Magikarp at 18% is super, super difficult. But if you do hit that 10, ridiculous margin. Ridiculous margin. The 10s are still going for over a grand. Very interesting card for sure. But 18% is the odds, guys, are not in your favor. But, it gets worse. These two cards have the lowest gem rate in basically all of Scarlet and Violet. Mousehold from Paldea Evolved is at a low of 15%. That is 85% of the time you are not hitting a 10. And it gets worse, guys. Starly, I'm pretty sure that's SV base, is 9%. I don't know who or why people are smitten Starly. I love Starly. I love Staraptor. Definitely my generation. But 9% is abysmal. You might not even buy the card. Just keep it ungraded, okay? Because that's how bad it is. 9% is one of the lowest in Scarlet and Violet up until the this half of the block, up till Twilight Masquerade. 9% is the lowest. Starly, stay away, okay? Mousehold, you guys must know that Mousehold has had quite a drastic price appreciation as of late. Not sure what the 10's going for, but I'd imagine they'd be pretty high if it's 15%. If you're lucky enough to get a 10, it's probably a decent margin for you, but the chances are not with you, and that is what we like to focus on as graders, guys, okay? Thank you very much for watching this video. It might be a bit long, but there is a lot of information in there that you could take and you can go away and you can use. It's very useful. I will be using it. It was great to do my own research, guys. I implore you to do the same because it's very great for learning and development. But without further ado, I hope to catch you in the next one, guys. I'll see you in a bit.